What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and welcome back to another Should You Pull video, where I give you my opinions for upcoming banners coming to the global version of the game. And in today's video we are going to take a look at 8's Lost Chapter banner. So there's really not much for 8's Lost Chapter. He gets an LD, no one else gets a rework, so this is gonna be a quick video hopefully. So let's just review his EX, because I feel like we should at least review his EX and EX Plus, or else this video will be like maybe 5 minutes short. So his EX basically is going to give him access to Phantom Rush, which is going to give him a 100% evasion rate, and then he will counter once he evades with a Breakside Blow, which is a 6-hit melee brave plus HP attack, which also ignores defense. The Stolen Brave can overflow to 120%, and I think this is the biggest thing with 8. He was a powerhouse when it comes to countering, because he ignores the defense of the enemies. That means his damage is pretty consistent even in chaos difficulty fights. So it's basically his damage is relative to his attack. So that is the biggest thing with 8, and of course if you do EX plus it, basically you do get the access to his buffs, Quick Bolt and Phantom Rush at the start of the quest, and also increasing his brave hit counts to Phantom Rush, and as well as Breakside Blow. So that is a very important thing. Again, he was more of a powerhouse when it comes to soloing content, especially in Dimensions End. There were a lot of 8 soloable Dimensions End because of his counter. Basically what people have done is basically take out some of his passives that increase his speed. That way they can take advantage of the counter. So that is the biggest thing with 8. But now let's take a look at his LD ability, Explosive Fist, which is going to be an 8-hit AoE melee brave plus AoE HP attack. This is going to increase damage when attacking a single target, and will have a 200% max brave overflow limit, as well as having an HP damage split. This will raise his brave by 30% of his HP damage dealt, so he gets a little refund there, and now he gets a provoke or lock debuff on the targets for 2 turns. It's not long, but it's enough for him to obviously evade and counter. This also gives him a new buff called Breakfall for 4 turns. Now Breakfall basically prevents himself from getting KO'd as long as he has 50% of his HP. So think of it like the last stand from Shantoto. Who else got it? Garnet. So I didn't say Dagger this time, okay? So people like that. Even Ishtola has this passive. Basically, you know, they can take a hit. As long as they have 50% of their HP, they will survive any hit. Now after taking damage, or he does his evasion, he will now trigger Counter Rush, which is another 8-hit melee brave plus HP attack, which also ignores defense. This will have the same max brave overflow limit of 120%, but this will have a 50% splash damage. Now Breakfall also raises his own attack and extends the duration of self-granted buffs. So that is the biggest thing with 8 right now, is that he basically fixed the issues that he had previously, which was relying too much on enemies attacking him. So he didn't pair up with a lot of tanks, but now he has his own lock. So, you know, he's kind of like a pseudo evasion tank at this point, kind of like Edge basically. So at 1 out of 3, he will get an increase in his attack, and increased brave damage dealt on Explosive Fist, and adds the following effect to Breakfall, basically raising his brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after every HP attack, except during a chase sequence of course, and after using Explosive Fist. You will have Breakfall at the start of the quest, and will have access to his plus version of his brave attack and HP attack. Now the brave attack does hit for 8 hit melee brave attack, and after breaking or attacking a broken target, he will gain access to the light speed jab plus. Now his HP attack is pretty good as well, doing a 3 hit melee brave plus HP attack with a 120% max brave overflow limit. Now light speed jab plus will have increase in hit count to 3 and increasing its potency. So basically light speed jab is the one I do believe lowers the defense of the enemies, which in hindsight doesn't really help with his counter, but you know, it's still pretty good because it does help with his abilities, right? So let me just double check that's true. So it has no action delay, and extends his current buffs by 1. That was the one that I'm missing. And does not increase the turn count, so it's always good to use it. Decreases the friend summons action count, that's fine. And it turns back to light speed jab. So this is the one that, yeah, inflicts a large defense down for 2 turns after breaking a target or attacking broken target. So that's the biggest thing there. So, you know, it's always nice to use it because you are inflicting a debuff. Even though it doesn't help with the counters, it does still help with his abilities. Now at 2 out of 3, he will have again increase in attack, and then when he's using explosive fist, the lock duration increased by 3 turns and the duration of break fall increased by 2 turns. And finally at 3 out of 3, it just gets another increase in attack and 1 extra use of explosive fist, which brings it up to the total of 4. So I guess to summarize, this basically fixes a lot of 8's issues previously. Again, as I have mentioned, his issue was he was relying so much on, you know, enemies targeting him. So if you have a tank, obviously they're not going to target 8. He doesn't play well with a tank, but now he has his own lock. So that really kind of fixed his issues before. Think of it like Cater as well. Like Cater had this evasion buff, but you're not really taking advantage of it if they're not attacking her. So they gave her a little bit of a buff where she would have a target lock on them, even though it's just 1 turn. It's still pretty helpful, right? Because she does counter as well. And the same thing with Edge. Like, you know, at least with Edge, it was a party aura evasion buff, and he had his own like target lock with his ability too. So a lot of comparisons there. So I think they really fixed the main issue with 8 and gave him an extra power up in terms of damage value. You know, having 2 counter attacks. Remember, this is 2 counter attacks, and one of them is going to trigger regardless he takes damage or he has a successful evasion. So breakfall, remember, he will always use it. It doesn't rely on evading, but obviously you will want that evasion buff up at all times because that is going to give him the most value for your team. He still doesn't play well with other tanks, so you will have to you know, probably avoid bringing a tank in terms of party composition, and then just probably bring someone who has some brave regen and brave battery so he can take advantage of a lot of the refunds for his brave when he does counter as well. So overall pretty good. You know, I mean, Explosive Fizz has its own refund with the brave as well, but having some sort of like brave battery and, you know, brave regen is definitely going to help with 8's overall damage output. So that's what I think of him. He's a powerhouse in terms of melee single target attack, and really there's really not much to talk about other than that. So the final question remains, should you pull? Honestly, this is kind of 8's one of those characters that I really wanted when he first came out. I was just unfortunate not to get his you know, weapons. I didn't get his EX, and now, you know, I don't have any resource to pull for him. So for me personally, I am planning to skip on this, there is a free pool. This is the last free pool that we are going to be getting for the Halloween event, so good luck to you guys. So if you don't have the resources, yeah, this is a good skip. If you do have the resources, I say just go with tickets. I wouldn't go out of my way to actually, you know, grab all his stuff. I would avoid using gems because Kurosame is the next character coming out, and we all know how much big the hype is for Kurosame, and I'll be making a video on that as well, a should you pull video on that pretty soon, and hopefully I can get it out before I go back to night shift again. So that is the plan, and so you guys can see how powerful Kurosame is. So anyway, like I said, just go with your tickets and try to avoid using your gems because Kurosame is around the corner. And then after Kurosame, we have Kuja's LD and burst weapon, and then we have Gao following up that, and then we have Gladio, which is, you know, yeah, a lot of people are pretty hyped up for him as well. So there's still a lot of good characters coming out. And then after Gladio, we got Lightning's Burst in the LD. So I do suggest try and save your resources as much as you can because it's gonna be one hell of a month. And the next month as well, at the start of the next month, is pretty resource heavy, let's just put it that way. So there's quite a lot of very good characters coming out. So if you can skip on the things that you want to skip, I do highly suggest do so. So anyway guys, that is it for this video. Please do remember to click like and subscribe once again if you haven't already, because it does help this channel, and I really do appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Also follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. And again guys, I do apologize that the format is still like this. Again, for those people who are new to this channel, this is not the usual format that I do my Should You Pulls. The normal format will be coming up maybe in the next week or so. I will be going back to the old one, so hopefully not too long. Hopefully I have the energy after these night shifts to go back to normal as soon as possible. Now again, let me know down in the comments below if you are planning to pull onEight's Lost Chapter banner, and you know, let me know the reason why. Is 8 your favorite, or you just like the counter abilities? I mean, I love all the evasion and counter stuff. Always been a big fan, but unfortunately I will have to pass on this one. So anyway, that's it for this video guys. Thank you very much for watching. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.